I'm doing this just to have a little bit of fun, even though it's the truth is embedded in it when it comes to map reading. Okay, so I do a lot of self-talk just to have. But I was reminded, for example, when I was a child growing up, because your map reading codes, which are mathematical codex. And I was reading in this book that I've shared in other videos that I've done, which is called The Magician. This book right here. Okay. And I wasn't intended on this video to do that. But here is an example where one of these individuals is talking to an alchemist and says, the first secret, Josh asked. And he says, you've seen the text. It changes. But it changes in a strict mathematical sequence. It's not random. He goes on to say that are linked to the movements of the stars and planets and the phases of the moon like a calendar. Once we had learned that code sequence, we knew we could finally return to Paris. And then he, on the next page, talked about there are 4 great swords of power, Flamel said, urgently, each one linked to the elements earth, air, fire, and water. Excalibur. Excalibur is the sword of ice. A twin blade. Fire and ice. And this is something interesting that he talked about that I read yesterday. When they were talking about, oh yeah, here we are, about spirits, the elements, the elemental command, the elemental math, function authority, yeah. And he talks about fire can heal. It can seal a wound, can cut out disease. Saint Germain continued earnestly. Golden cinders of fire burned in his pale blue eyes. It is unlike any other magic because it is the only one directly linked to the purity and strength of your aura. Almost anyone can learn the basics of earth, air, or water magic. Spells and incantations can be memorized and written down in books. But the power to ignite fire comes from within your own heart and soul spirit essence. The last sentence was my own. The purer the air aura, he continues, the stronger the fire. And that means, Sophie, that you must be very careful because your aura is so pure. When you unleash the magic of fire, it will be incredibly potent. Has Flamel warned you not to overuse your powers, lest you burst into flames? Saint Germain added, never create fire when you are tired or weakened. If you lose control of this element, it will snap back on you and burn you to a crisp in a heartbeat. The eternal spirit of fire is the first shield volcano, and I refer to that as the shield of one, the first one, the first internal, eternal creation spheres of the eternal spirit of fire, which is the eternal spirit of absolute pure love that is on fire. That's our shield. That's my shield. That's the most powerful magic, is pure love. That's what purifies us. That's what cleanses and strengthens our shield. Yeah. So before I moved to that book, I was thinking about, for example, in World War II, about what I experienced when I was a child, that I use a few words in the English language, which is not our native founder's language, in mathematical codex of communication, the math codes. And because my father was in World War II as a naval aviator, and he served in the Mediterranean, right, against Nazi Germany, and also in Guadalcanal, right, with the Cactus Air Force. And so I was reminded, for example, when you see, if you've ever seen any of the old film archives during World War II, where you had the German Navy, known as the Kriegsmarine. And they would have, for example, what looks to be, on the visible light spectrum, a freighter. And so you know what a signet is, right? Signals intelligence. They were known as colors, flags, which are signs, which are symbols, which are mathematical characters that we see on the game board, Star Wars video game board, War Game Theater. So you have other guys that are out on other freighters, like they're in a convoy. And those freighters, say, are coming from the United States, flying the United States flag, which is a war flag, by the way. If you go look up into the flags, the law of flags, the law of nations, Adam Smith programs, first law of nations, second law of nations. When two becomes one, the one becomes all, because of the relationship between fire and ice, 1 and 3, 3 and 1, and a tetrahedron, which is 4, and how the numbers work with codes, nuclear sequences, nuclear math. And so you have a convoy of freighters that are carrying a gazillion items that are coming from, say, several different countries. They made a pickup and say they're going to Britain, right? And so this particular ship that's out there in the ocean, not far from the convoy, a guy on the bridge is using a pair of binoculars and looks at the ship and says, "Oh, I see their flags. Oh, that's a freighter from Peru. Oh, that's a friendly. They're not at war against anybody. Okay, so they'll flash their shutters. Da-di-di-di, da-di-di-di-di, da-di-di-di. Oh, hey, who you? Hey, this is the SS so-and-so. Oh, you're from Peru. Yeah, they're flying the flags of Peru, right?" And then the guy inside that particular ship, who's a navigator, talking to the captain, "We're within range, aye." Next thing you know, the guys are in the convoy, looking through their binoculars, realize the doors come down. Large batteries. Wow, those are big caliber guns. That's not a freighter. That's a German raider. A pretender, a masquerader, a pirate. Like in Pirates of the Caribbean. They were faking it. That's an illusion. They were pretending to be something that they're not. That's a liar. They were lying about who they are. That means their signal codes. That means their intelligent codes. That means their deadlight codes are lying. Wow, they're not who they say they are. Now they're blowing holes in our ships, trying to sink what? Electrons into the ocean. Yeah. So you can imagine how this was mapping the train as a little kid. Like the movie with Roddy Piper, It's Alive. We're mapping the math codes. We're mapping the atmosphere, the atmospherics. Yeah. The exchange rate between inverters and quantum accelerators, right? We're in server mode. Yeah. So that's why it's sort of counter space intuitive, right? When you think of a money system, like Oh, you're giving me electrons, huh? Well, guess what? We were already giving you those electrons at a higher rate of speed. So now you're selling back the electrons that we gave you for free at no charge. You're going to sell us back what we've already given you, which means it's already happened. Wow, in order to do what? Slow the speed down. Whoa, now we're increasing our mass and slowing our speed. Whoa, we're going to be solid before you know it. Go after the human heart. Separate the mother heart. Separate father from mother so that mother and father are not experiencing being one. Yeah, that's why we're here. Right? Ignite the mother arc. Ignite the arc gate hub. Right? 13th, transharmonic, the mother arc. That's Christos. We're Christos. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What did I write down here yesterday? Oh, yeah. Un aya, un sata, zala kala, jadunaya. Have a beautiful day. We love you all.